Hello and welcome back everyone to the Battle of America. I'm SP Revolution 5, joined by Dragondropdota for the match of the evening, or well, the first match of the evening at least. It's Pain Gaming up against Complexity. After this we'll have the old top 5 squad, now known as Void Boys, up against Not Today. So Dragondrop, how is it going, man?
It's going great, man. Really happy that I get to cast this match because the teams are actually on time and did not forget that they are supposed to play today. So
yeah, we had a little bit of a mix-up yesterday.
Best of 3 here.
Yeah, and for this to be a round 1 game in the playoffs is quite surprising. When I looked over these teams, I'm like, okay, we got Pain, we got Complexity. I mean, this could be a grand final matchup in my book.
Yeah, both teams definitely have the skills to go all the way, so it's going to be a pretty big game already, just in that regard as well. Just remind us, how does this work? This is the upper bracket match, right?
Yep, it's a best of 3. If they do lose, either team, because one of them will, spoiler alert, I know. If they do lose, they go down to the lower bracket and they'll play against Argentinian rejects in a best of 3 to move on. If they lose that one, they're out. But,
yeah, so both teams can essentially have a safety net since it is the upper bracket in this double elimination format here.
Yeah, and then of course have the safety net of game 1 as well, that if you do lose game 1, you've also got a game to fall back on, so...
Yeah, obviously you have that as well, but of course, I mean, if you win now, it means that you don't have to put yourself under as much pressure in the next game, so that's something that these teams will want to consider as well. Because hey, if you're down on a lower bracket, then every single game counts. If you're in the upper bracket, you can kind of go into the games a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more with an open mind in terms of drafting, like we have maybe now. I mean, you can consider the Ancient Apparition first pick at least a little bit of a curveball these days. I mean, he usually doesn't get banned, so you might as well pick him up later.
Yeah,
for Complexity picking...
There's only a certain situation where you get banned, which is if you're picking up Necrolite, which... could be what Complexity are going for here. They've been running it recently, I want to say. So, it's definitely possible.
10 seconds.
Yeah, it can definitely work quite nicely together with the Reaper Scythe, just to have that disable the healing, so just that you can make sure that there's no surprise mechanism or something that keeps the target out of that death range. So, kind of like that. Also, the synergy with the Centaur is obvious if you just have that stampede in, do some damage, and then make sure that you follow up that ice blast with something, with some sort of damage to actually secure kills, or just the other way around, depending.
Yep, and of course, a big shout out, real quick, to our sponsors, of course, Hitbox, Latin American Casters, eBettle, Vinotech, who are sponsoring the ticket itself. You can buy that ticket in the shop. It's got an exclusive ward that's very nice. We also have matches tonight that are available for bets on Dota 2 Lounge for this match. Our match with Not Today is not available to bet on Dota 2 Lounge, but if you head over to Dota2BestYOLO.com, you'll be able to bet on it there. And if you want to earn real money, of course, you can go over to esportbets.com. I think I covered them all, right, Dragondrop?
Pretty much all the major ones.
Yep. So, Pain... coming out the bat, they ban out the Batrider, they ban out the Lycan, also going to ban out the Death Prophet. Don't want to go with any of that crazy push, and Complexity going to ban out some of the big team fight heroes, Void and Brewmaster, most notably. In fact, those are the only bans so far. We're going to see Pain Gaming pick up Razor and Tidehunter right off the bat, and an Ancient Apparition Centaur combo for Complexity. So both of these lineups are looking like team fight to me, Dragondrop.
Yeah, absolutely. Complexity, for the time being, maybe a little bit less so, maybe a little bit more focused in terms of, just focus on gangs and pick-offs more so than team fights, but of course they can change, as both of these heroes work well in both strategies, if you will. They gotta have to be careful about that Tidehunter and that Razor, though, because Tidehunter can turn a team fight around on a whim, even if you initiate on him, and maybe you can't bring him down as easily. And yeah, with a maxed out Kraken Shell, that can be hard to do. And then he pops a Ravage and everything turns around. And Razor as well, I mean, if you leave him alive long enough in the fights, and he's gonna do plenty of damage to make it worth your while, if you're on the side with the Razor, so...
Yep. We do have Puck on the side of Pain getting banned out as well. Don't want any more of that teamfight initiation. Skywrath on the side of Complexity getting banned out, and he can be a very good hero up against Ancient Apparition. I don't think they'll pick him up themselves unless they're planning on picking up a lot of lockdown on their cores. Simply because Ancient Apparition is so squishy, you know?
Yep.
But I do want to take a moment to note that Pain is using 2 stand-ins. VSW, I believe, is a stand-in. I am not aware that that is either BoA or Ned. And Billy is a stand-in of theirs as well, but they've played with Billy quite a bit, and he's one of the better support players in South America. In fact, if I had to build the South American Dream Team, the Brazil Dream Team anyway, I'd just take the Pain squad, kick out BoA, and replace Billy. No hate on you, BoA, but yeah.
Okay, let me just actually check with that VSW guys some other names. None that I would recognize.
Okay.
So Crazy Little Boy.
Yeah, that's
something new.
I mean, I've heard of Crazy Little Boys, but yeah.
So
we'll
definitely Stannon. It's a little bit interesting that they let him draft for them, though.
They're probably all communicating. This is a very tight-knit community in Brazil, generally, and I know they've had this guy stand in for them before, unless he just happens to have the same icon, because I specifically remember the, is it Gyarados, I guess, the Pokemon?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm having trouble, yeah. Anyways, Ember Spirit will be coming out for Complexity. A great hero in a team fight, but a great hero to also just split push and be a late game carry, who often will occupy the mid lane, but still can do quite a bit. Razor probably going to be his opponent on the mid lane. They'll pick up Mirana, which I imagine will be played by Billy in the support role, since they already have an offlane Tidehunter.
Yeah. And I really like this up against the Ember Spirit, because if you then pick up a Bane or a Shadow Demon to combo that up with, then you can pull off some easy ganks on the Ember Spirit, and it's just lightning fast with your reactions. But even then, I mean, if the arrow is inside the disruption area, essentially when it expires, then you essentially have an instant stun.
Yeah.
And once you get a stun on an Ember Spirit, it's just easy peasy bursting him down with everything you have, especially with the Razor in mid lane.
And the same with
maybe
the Silence.
Maybe link off. There's Silence as well.
That's probably why they banned out Skywrath Mage, just trying to say, hey, we can't have them silencing out our Ember and whatnot.
Yeah.
Ogre Magi, they're coming out for Complexity. We all know him, we love him. Most of us actually don't love him, but there's something wrong with you people. He's going to be a very solid support, especially along with Ancient Apparition. Ancient Apparition's Ice Vortex, giving you 30% increased magic damage. I mean, you don't always set it up for that, but if you can get that combo off, that's a lot of extra damage coming out of Ogre. In the meantime, Pain going a little more split push focus, maybe a Shadow Shaman, but definitely someone who has an instant disable, and something that's going to be able to lock down Ember Spirit pretty quickly.
Yep. Really like the Ogre together with the Ancient Apparition, simply because, I mean, just looking at an Ancient Apparition, you don't necessarily consider it to be a strong laning hero or tri-lane hero in that regard, because he is a little bit squishy, he doesn't really have a stun. I'm not counting the cold feed because it's more of a zoning ability than
it's what I call
stun.
A dependent stun. If you have something to set it up, it's a stun. If you don't, you're relying on your enemy making mistakes, which at this level of play, you really don't want to. I mean, we can't remember this is only the first round, but still, it's a very big deal for Pain and Complexity. They're both two of the top teams, I'd say. And Pain, they didn't look so hot at the Summit qualifiers, but last night they took down Leviathan in very convincing fashion. Now, Leviathan hasn't looked as strong recently, but it's showing that people... Gosh, it's showing that Pain is coming a long way. We will see the Slark get banned out from them. Sorry, my words got hard there for a second.
Yeah, I agree with the Slark ban, considering it. I mean, they would have wanted to pick it themselves up against an Ancient Apparition. That's here they can just wreck Slark. If you just get hit with that Ice Blast, all of a sudden you're just that squishy hero without any possibility of getting out and regenning anything, so just denying that from Complexity. It would have been one of these heroes that would have just rounded out that tri-lane with the Ancient Apparition and the Ogre Magi really well, because you have that always that threat of a good, nice long lockdown with the leash,
Yep, and they'll
Gonna
go for the Zeus.
Though. Okay, so it's gonna be Ember Spirit on the farming position, one would imagine.
And Zeus in the mid lane with Ancient Apparition to back him up, though. That's a really strong global combo, and a lot of magic damage. And on Pain's side, I mean, Razor, sure, he'll be able to BKB, but they really need either a hard carry here who wants to build BKB, or maybe sift Mirana into that carry position, but that's not as strong these days, I think, especially not against this much burst.
I think if Pain wants to make it count in the early game, if they want to fight up against this really strong lineup from Complexity early, then they're gonna have to use the Mirana as a roamer in some form or another.
Yeah.
And Shadow Shaman can set up nicely for the arrow with the shackles, just as much as the next guy. But still, it's gonna be hard. If you don't kill someone like a Zeus, he always has the potential to just turn around and burst down the likes of a Shadow Shaman. And then if you go up against the Ember Spirit and Ogre Magi, Ancient Apparition, I mean, just the Ancient Apparition and the Ogre Magi, I mean, that combo is really good.
We're going to get to see ADR's Templar Assassin, it looks like. So they may be putting Templar up against Ember, and that's a matchup that either goes Ember's way or goes TA's way. I can never really decide. It depends on the individual skill of the players, of course, ADR being very skilled. The problem for Ember is that, yeah, he's got Flame Guard to burn away Refraction, but that doesn't block any damage, so he's not able to tank anything up in that mid lane, so...
Yeah, it's gonna be Ember mid lane, though. I mean, in the early game, it's not gonna be an issue for the Ember Spirit.
Yeah.
If he's in the farming position, Zeus, though, has to be careful. I mean, I'm not quite sure how they're gonna lane this with the Templar Assassin now. You would imagine her to go to the mid lane and Razor being the farmer.
But ADR does go into the safe lane most of the time for this team.
Yeah.
They will shift him back and forth. About a year ago, when I started casting Brazilian Dota, ADR was playing exclusively mid. They had Klontz back on the safe lane carry position at that point.
Yeah.
That takes me way back.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Refraction against Zeus is useful, but not the best, simply because Zeus spells are still spammable. And the harassment is not always going to go the Zeus's way either if he decides to just stay back and spam out the Arc Lightning from a safe distance. So
Yeah.
it's also what he probably needs to rely on to a little bit if the support heroes from Pain are off the map and missing.
Yeah, I'm
Just
just
to
going to
stay-
reconnect to the
stay
game
alive.
real quick. There. Check Steam
Alright.
messages. Yep. Will do, Moon.
Well, we have some time. I can maybe finally finish my point that I wanted to make about the Ogre Magi and Ancient Apparition combination. I mean, you already said that it was a good combination because of the Ice Vortex and the magic damage coming out from Ogre Magi. But just in terms of their ability and their laning presence in the early game, they kind of complement each other. I mean, Ogre Magi is naturally tanky early on, with 6 armor, about 600 health, give or take. And a good amount of health regen, so he can be the one in the front lines taking some harassment. With
And just
Ancient
make
Apparition
space for
just doing the
Moomiander.
stacks. Yeah, that as well. And
Also-
if they ever decide to go on someone, they do have the Chilling Touch to fall back on the Ancient Apparition, which is just extra damage that you cannot discount when you're talking about a tri-lane together with that. So that can make the difference between First Blood or not, essentially.
Yeah. Moomiander is going to be able to get a bit of extra damage off in the early game. Unless I'm entirely mistaken as to how it works, I believe Chilling Touch works with Sleight of Fist. So you don't have to worry about your attack speed there. And you don't have to worry about being in range for those melee hits like Ogre will at that point. Of course, Ogre not really well known for his right clicks, but he does hit pretty hard. I mean, 61 damage early on, especially when he's got this much HP regen. We're going to see him able to trade hits with the enemy pretty well.
Yeah, he can trade blows quite effectively, and that's just what makes him viable nowadays as laning support. I mean, half a year ago, so whenever it was, when Alliance picked him, I don't know when that was, but I think even at TI3 all the way back. They picked him and everyone was like, "What? Ogre Magi? How? Why? Is he good? Is he not good?" Nowadays, everyone picks him.
He's very good. And the "no one ever picks us" doesn't work anymore. It doesn't
Not
because
system up now.
it's they're eventually going to rewrite that voice line to be, "Oh my gosh, they always pick us. I was napping."
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Right, so
again, a big shout out to all the viewers coming out here. I know it's a big thanks to Dota 2 Lounge. We don't have our Not Today match that'll be coming up actually today after this best of 3 on Dota 2 Lounge, but I hope you guys will all stick around. In the meantime, if you do want to place your rares on that, you can do so at Dota2BestYOLO.com. And I'm assuming we're still working on changing out the headset right now. I do know,
depending on how they're wired, can
Yeah.
take a little bit of time.
Are they in the new gaming house yet? Do we know?
I'm
I'm gonna try to find out. They were boot camping somewhere, but they moved recently.
Not 100% sure. Might have to talk to Beef about that.
Yeah, I've not got anything on that right now. It's showing mostly Hearthstone news and whatnot. Wait, Noxious is on Complexity now? Wow. Didn't realize. Is this Complexity's? Yeah, it's their regular Twitter. Okay.
Okay, so looking at these lineups, and especially the cores on the side of both teams, what stands out in terms of what they do and what they bring to the table in terms of damage?
Well, TA obviously is going to be able to dominate a lane pretty well, unless they really gank her hard early on, and going to be able to dish out really reliable physical damage in the early game. The problem is, if you get to like 50 minutes into the game, you're not going to really get anywhere. We're going to see TA begin to fall off simply because she uses Refraction for defense, and sure, Refraction's great, let's not doubt that, but there's only 6 instances of damage block, and once those are gone, she's sitting behind relatively low HP. She's only got about 2 strength gain, which is okay, but she starts on low HP anyway, and a relatively low armor too, in my opinion, especially since she tends to go for a more right-click damage focused build rather than a stat focused build. On the other hand though, Ember Spirit, he's really only going to dish out 1 big hit to her at a time if they can spread out enough so that that cleave doesn't come out too much.
Yeah, well, there's also the Flame Guard, so there's, as well as the Zeus spamming the Oak Mage Ignite, so there's, as well as the Cold Feeder, actually, from the Ancient Apparition. I think that does some damage over time. If I'm not... Yeah, it does. So they've got plenty of ways to remove the Refraction even early on, so that's not the biggest deal, and that's not what ADR is going to have... I don't think you can rely on that too much. But yeah, what the Refraction also does is give them some extra damage, and of course he has the minus armor, which also synergizes well with Razor, especially later on in the game. So that can help them burst down targets. Maybe ADR wants to go for Desolator to be that kind of supporting carry, essentially, for Razor. So they still have some potential in the late game. The thing is, what they have is all physical damage, essentially. I mean, they have the Ravage, which does a little bit of medical damage, Shadow Shaman, with the Ether Shock, but his ultimate, the Mass Weapon, was also do physical damage, so...
Yep.
Mostly physical damage. On the other hand, Complexity, mostly magic damage. If you look at the Zeus, if you look at the Ancient Apparition, if you look at the Ogre, if you look at the Ember Spirit even, I mean, sure, he can dish out a lot of right-clicks, but at least early on in the game, he's all magic damage.
Yeah,
And Limp as well with the Double Edge, so...
You look at this team, and only really Ogre Magi has great armor early on in the game. And
Yeah.
Pain has a ton of armor reduction to go with the physical damage you were just talking about. 8 on Templar Assassin. You have up to 5 on Gush. A theoretically infinite amount on Eye of the Storm if you get really lucky with that. And that's not even counting a Deso, a Medallion pickup, which Mirana has been known to pick up Drum, but could easily pick up a Medallion. It would be fine on her, I think. The only problem would be the armor for her wouldn't do so much. So...
Yeah. So, and that's going to be the underlying problem or issue later on for both of these teams. I mean, usually physical damage is easier to scale simply because you can just level up, get extra stat items, stuff like that. And I mean, you can defend against it by just building armor, of course. But on the other hand, all the problems that Pain has up against Complexity's lineup is just solved by one single pickup, which is a BKB. So I think if Complexity can get ahead enough before that happens, then they're going to be in a good position. But if Templar Assassin is getting too much space, if the Raze is getting too much space, even the Tidehunter, if he wants to go for a quicker BKB than normal, then that can spell disaster for Complexity if they don't have the sustain and the farm to deal with that anyway. So
yeah. Complexity just needs a moment. Okay, they are ready. I'm gonna send them a quick good luck, have fun. The headset has been fixed. Of course, I'm SP Revolution 5. I'm joined by Dragondropdota. And we'd really appreciate a follow on Twitter or something, guys. Hope you enjoy the cast. But Pain up against Complexity. North America versus South America. Dragondrop, I'll let you go ahead and take it over for Complexity, and then I'll introduce Pain.
Absolutely. We're starting here in the top lane with Limp on the Centaur Warrunner. Z-Freak on the Ogre Magi, one of my favorite heroes, and yours as well, as I know.
Of course.
Swindlemelons on the Zeus, gonna be taking out the mid lane, as we predicted, which leaves Bloody Nine on the support Ancient Apparition. He's gonna be with Moon Meander here on the one position Ember Spirit in the bottom lane.
Yep. And on the side of Pain Gaming, we've got VSW on the Mirana standing in for Ned/BoA this evening. We've got ADR, the hard carry extraordinaire, this time gonna be on the mid lane Templar Assassin. We've got Razor, played by King RD, up in the safe lane tri-lane. Looks like Tidehunter will be played by Hamoude Walid. We're just going to call him Grin XD because that's who he really is. We all know. And, of course, Billy, standing extraordinaire on the Shadow Shaman. Don't forget, guys, you can check out the ticket in-game. The horn's sounding right now, and real quick, Dragondrop, who are you betting on here?
Well, I don't bet, so else I would have lost much, because I usually bet on the teams that I like best. But of course, as a caster, I can't be too biased, so I rather don't want to say.
Yep. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get it out there. I bet on Pain. Okay.
Okay, so then I have to bet on Complexity, which is what I would have done anyway. So
it'll balance out the cast, right?
All right. I mean, if you take sides for Pain, then I can take sides for Complexity. So all the blame will still be on you.
Yep. Try not to keep it too biased here. As ADR going ahead and getting that refraction up in the mid lane. Z-Freak's going to come up here and go ahead and begin harassing out TA. And this is classic. Ignite just going to say, hey, nice refraction you had there. Be a shame if something happened to it. Goodbye.
Yep. Then if Swindlemelons can get just one level in a static field, and two of those charges is gonna be down with just a single arc lightning. Unless there's, I think there was something like only instances of 5 more damage will trigger that, so it should happen with the static field.
Yeah, and assuming her health is high enough, which 5% of her health is definitely going to be. So yeah, it will definitely trigger her refraction. There it goes, and you can see it just vanishes in the presence of such a god, we could say. Of course, Limp gonna be up here. He'll actually get a stomp off on Billy, and Billy taking a lot of damage here. This could be First Blood. He'll go ahead and shackle up Limp, get a few extra right clicks off from the Mirana, but First Blood's still gonna go over to Z-Freak here, as he's getting very active around the map early, and his early brown boots really helping him out with that. And meanwhile, Ancient Apparition actually finding a kill on the Tidehunter. It's not looking good for Pain Gaming right off the bat here, Dragondrop.
Yeah, this is not the start that they wanted, definitely. I mean, as I said, if they give this Complexity lineup a good early start, then they can dominate mid-game, but top lane.
Yep, we've got a shackle into an arrow, a big drain coming out on Limp. You don't kill our shaman and get away with it, buddy. They'll get the revenge kill up on King RD, and much more useful than getting a kill on the Ogre Magi and the Ancient Apparition, in my opinion, at least. And looks like Centaur will be coming up into the top lane. The Mirana has disconnected from the game. And welcome to Dota, ladies and gentlemen.
We are like, alright guys, I hit the arrow, my job here is done. Like, go take a shower or something.
Yeah. We are on the US East server right now. We'll be on Brazilian server for game number 2 and back on US East for game 3. Since they're best of 3s, we will alternate there. And I believe I'm talking to Bex about next season to see if we're doing that. By the way, big shout out to Smash in the chat here. I assume that is him, in fact, seeing as he is mostly speaking Spanish here. We also have Morta from Nomad TV in the chat here. So big shout out to them. Thanks for coming out, guys. And of course, all of you. We've got 976 viewers here. This is fantastic for us, Dragon Drop.
Yeah, definitely also for me. Thank you for enjoying this game as much as we do so far, hopefully. I mean, if you hate the game, you wouldn't be watching it. And Z-Freak has a double damage rune, so he's gonna be feeling even better than before. So.
Well, I mean, for each head, that's 1 bit of damage, so it's not really that much for him. He'll be picking up Tranquil Boots, though, and a Clarity. And the way he's been roaming around, I think he's going to need that Clarity pretty soon. Meanwhile, up top, Limp getting drained by King RD. And in order for him to secure any of these last hits, he's going to be forced to basically risk getting drained.
Yeah. I mean, he's still level 3, and that's all you really want out of an offlane normally. Just getting a couple of good levels. On the other hand, Titan is keeping right up with him, so it's kind of a wash in that comparison.
They've both died once as well, so
yeah,
keeping it even there. And Titan is a bit far ahead in terms of last hits, but he doesn't have a Razor draining him out every couple of seconds, so...
Z-Freak might be in trouble here in mid. Still not shackled up, arrow. The vision. Vision OP, man.
Yeah. And that actually, if Complexity's paying enough attention, which I'd assume they are, that'll tell them there is no ward over here on top rune. In fact, there's no ward on either of the runes right now for your Dire team, because it was dewarded on the bot lane as well. Meanwhile, it looks like Grint gonna go in on Moomiander and just say, hey, you're a melee hero, I'm Tide Hunter, your lane's not gonna be fun, buddy.
Yeah.
And we see Pain actually leading the board in terms of farm. ADR, who I'm gonna assume is the 1 position here, really, is on 19 last hits, Moomiander on 13. So... definitely out-farming him, and this is what you're going to see out of a TA anyway. Sideblades is an excellent farming tool, seeing as you can basically last hit and deny at the same time. I also like the fact that he has put a second point in Meld rather than relying on the early refraction so much, because he knows that's going to get taken down. He can use Meld, of course, to disjoint Ogre Magi's projectiles and get a little bit of extra damage off in terms of physical damage, which is going to help the team out a lot. Swindle, though, Moon, coming in on Grint, as he's going to get harassed out here. He may be going down. There's an arrow to fly. It'll connect on Bloody 9, but Moomiander's still going for it here. There is a salve up on Grint, and no Sleight of Fist for Moomiander means no kill for him either.
Yeah, this where 1 value point might just make the difference there. At the same time, ADR was gone on mid, but they weren't able to get the kill either.
Yeah. The problem with getting that early point in Sleight of Fist is if you don't have a lot of self-control, and if you've ever watched my stream, you know how much I love to spam. Yeah. It'll actually cause you to waste a lot of your mana.
Yeah.
I've learned this the hard way.
But yeah, anyway, Temple Assassin definitely getting the better end of this mid deal here, especially since Zeus is spending a lot of time rotating around. I mean, it's, as you said, it's what you would expect. I mean, you can only reliably last it with Zeus with the Arc Lightning, simply because your attack animation is so god-awful. Yeah. On the other hand, Temple Assassin quite good with the extra damage from the melt and with everything else. So, and he's also getting ahead in levels a little bit here, since Z-Freak was spending a little bit of time in mid as well. But it's not too big of a deal right now.
I will say that that's the most important thing about Zeus. You need levels much more than you need farm, because there does come a point where you kind of cap out in terms of damage. Sure, you can eventually maybe start building right-click carry, get your Mjolnir, get extra lightning up there, but in all reality, it's not that likely. And meanwhile, Ember Spirit going to take down Tidehunter this time for real. 3-1 in terms of scoreboard for Complexity, but Pain out-farming at the moment, and that means our net worth is actually sitting in their favor by about 1,000 gold right now. So the item's starting to come out for them, XP as well.
Yeah, even though they're giving up kills, they're getting so much from, top lane. Whereas Moonmeander is trying to keep up, but he's still 6 losses behind.
Arrow went out towards Swindle, but it's not quite enough, yeah. Moonmeander still sitting behind a few last hits on King RD, but about 10 last hits to ADR, and that's about 400 gold there.
Yeah.
Ish. And it looks like ADR will be going for a stats-focused build here. Knows he needs to tank up if he wants to resist Ogre Magi and Zeus. And there's some Ignite charges as well as A Zeus Lightning Bolt coming out. There's no ulti for Zeus just yet, though. Now he's got it, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to try to dive for it. But ADR, he'll get that refraction up just in time and say, no. No, Swindle. You can't have me yet, buddy.
Yeah, definitely a good try. I mean, why not go for that? It's a good way to at least keep the Templar Assassin out of lane for a little bit. I mean, doesn't have any bottle charges left. Only a couple of stick charges now. So if they want to go for this again, if ADR is a little bit greedy here, just not bottle throwing and not getting the next rune, then should be going well top lane though.
Limp going to get stunned up. They're not going to throw the arrow, though.
Oh,
it was on cooldown. Okay. Must have been a miscommunication. It happens. It happens.
I mean, normally the shackles are one of the best spells to set up an arrow, even at level 1, because it's channeling for 2.75 seconds. It's plenty of time to get a good long-range arrow out.
Unless the arrow's on cooldown, of course.
Unless the arrow's on cooldown, yeah. I don't know, who knows, maybe a creep also got in the way. Things like that happen sometimes. So, but even then, it's not a big deal. Those are very low cooldowns.
It's not like you're wasting an entire ultimate just to get a kill and then missing it. Moomiander, though, rotating out toward the mid lane. He's looking to be very active around the map here. And actually has got himself a bottle up already. He's thrown out a Remnant just to scout out and make sure everything's going to be okay. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have King RD going for a Razor Midas.
Okay. Not quite sure I agree with that, because right now is about the time where Complexity wants to make something happen. With the Ember Spirit on level 7, level 8 almost, with that Bounty Rune activated, and there we go.
Nice leap away.
Yep. A little bit of a misplacement of that Remnant.
Yeah, and ADR actually sitting on a regen rune right here, so that'll help him out quite a bit. We are going to see the Bracer coming out to him at the moment, and we should see Drum coming out in about 800 gold, so... I like this build on TA. I think the move speed is good. Sometimes getting both phase and drums can be unnecessary, though. Swindle, gonna dodge the arrow. It'll hit a creep. Not even kill the creep. Instead, that'll be denied. An Ogre Magi on a Soul Ring as well.
It was just one of those lucky moments where you just walk up to throw out a spell or get a last hit, and then you just see the arrow fly by.
Yeah.
BSW, he wants more, so he's sitting up on the high ground, and if Swindle isn't careful, if he just stands in one position or walks in a particular fashion, they might get caught out, especially with this ward here. It's a really aggressive ward. You don't usually see that.
They know they need to shut down the Zeus here, and they will spot out this ward on the bot lane. That is the other thing that Zeus can give to your team, is great de-warding potential. And especially against someone like TA, not only do you want to de-ward, but you want to be able to spot the enemy heroes. And the TA traps as well, so...
Yeah, I guess considering that you kind of have to go for silly wards like this.
Oh, the SW gonna get moved in on here by Limp. I don't think he saw... They didn't see each other.
No.
Okay.
That can be a big deal here. If he gets shackled up by Billy, if you can get close enough, that's an easy arrow. Maybe without... No.
It was close.
Yeah, a little bit too impatient here, but they should still get the tower, maybe, but no, the creeps are gonna fall. Flim can pull the next creep across, and now BSW, I mean, they know he's here now, just a leap out available, so they can't really get the kill.
Yeah, unless BSW lags.
If they even find him again.
Actually, I don't think Ogre saw him.
He was hiding quite deep in the trees, but now they definitely see him here with the ult thing, so he's on the run. Very nice usage there.
And he sees Ogre coming back toward him, and he's gonna just hop over the cliff and walk away. No big team fights right now, but... Pain, I mean, it looks scoreboard-wise like, okay, Pain's not doing too well, but in terms of last hits, they're doing just fine. And ADR gonna come in here, though, use the Tidehunter Ravage just to grab Z-Free. There'll be a charge away from Centaur, though, and this could get really bad. ADR, under fire, there's a stomp out, but it does miss from Limp. And in the meantime, there is an ulti out from no one, because that was actually just a lightning bolt from Zeus.
Yeah, they look the same, but they're a little bit different.
I saved myself there, you see. Meanwhile, though, Shadow Shaman able to secure a tower. I mean, you can say, yeah, the Ravage was wasted, but at the same time, it wasn't used for nothing. They baited out the Centaur ulti. They managed to grab a tower with it, and I'd say that's okay.
Yeah, because of this one thing in Complexity doesn't have right now is tower push. So
yeah.
Pain doesn't necessarily have the biggest tower push either, unless they get some of their level 6s, like the Shadow Shaman, who just used this ward here in top tier 1. And then, of course, the Razor, once he gets the Diagonal Scepter, he'll be pretty good at that.
Moon just got stunned up here. He's sitting on a relatively even farm with PA, or TA, excuse me, but TA actually has a drum complete at this point, so Moon is actually sitting behind her, excuse me. Z-Freak stunning up the Phantom Assassin, the Templar Assassin, oh my gosh.
Too much PA played?
No, too much PA Arcana news. That booty broke the Dota net.
So yeah, the problem for Complexity is that they don't really get to play their game right now. I mean, they are forced to play the farming game because they can't find the openings, because Pain is very diligent about their positioning on the map. I mean, they don't go out too far, they still have this interesting ward here that at least gives them intel on rotations in and out of the mid lane.
They're gonna go after Tidehunter right now. They know he doesn't have a Ravage to counter-initiate with. And Azuso will come in actually just to secure the kill. King RD, though, coming in, throwing out a plasma field. They'll get a Hex up on Moon on the back end of the fight. He doesn't have a Remnant available to get out with, so he'll decide to go deeper in. And he'll take down the Shadow Shaman. That's a 2-for-0 trade going over to Complexity. But as you can see, Pain are still sitting ahead of the curve, but they're not done yet. That's right, King RD getting focused down a bit here. He's got another plasma field. A beautiful arrow from Murano will at least get a return kill here. But still, 3-for-1 is great. Oh, wait. He could actually, he'll die to the tower. Razor getting a kill there as well as Gold split among assists. It actually ends up being a 3-for-2 trade. And it's relatively okay for Pain Gaming, except that, of course, the fight recap is only going to show me 1 kill, but... Volvo, please.
A little bit of silly engagement there, but great play by Moon Meander there, going in, and also a little bit lucky, I would say, because he had the Flame Guard up when Shadow Shaman shackled him. And then Billy kind of panicked and realized that he was still taking damage and was gonna die just to the Flame Guard, so he stopped the shackle. And then allowed Moon Meander to get a couple of really good Searing Chains out that secured the kill on the Shadow Shaman, and eventually also another kill down the line. It's a little bit unfortunate that he didn't have any mana or remnants available to get the hell out of there after the fact, but still. That's the kind of plays that you want to make if you're Complexity right now. Just take advantage of your spells. If that Ice Blast hit from the Ancient Apparition, then would have been also a much better exchange, I would say, even. Haven't really seen any good Ice Blasts just yet.
Yeah. And we're really waiting for one of those big Ice Blasts that are going to just catch all of Pain, and then Zeus ult, wipe him out. That's the nutshell game plan here. If anybody's left, Ember can clean him up with Sleight of Fist, hopefully. The question is, will it actually end up working? I mean, you're going up against a Tidehunter Ravage, a TA with tons of physical damage, a Razor with a lot of AoE, and he's actually going for a drum as well here. Now, I used to frown on, oh my gosh, they built 2 drums, such noobs. But as much as TA and Razor are going to split push, I think this is totally okay. VSW almost getting caught out here. They'll use the Zeus ult, but it won't secure a kill. He'll dodge the arrow, and they will actually find one of TA's traps, which she will just pop off and waste a bit of Swindle and Moon's time. They're going to deward this, though.
So yeah, having 2 drums, I mean, it's alright, because if you look at what the drums do, it's an aura attack speed of 5 and aura move speed of 5%. That is absolutely nothing. What if you just disregard that, it just remains a really cost-effective stat item. So, oh, VSW, is not gonna save you there.
Yeah,
easy kill for Moon Meander, yeah.
He gets away flawless as well. He's sitting on 1300 right now, working on potential Battle Fury, as TA appears to be moving into Manta. So lots of move speed going to be coming after her. They're going to help Grint farm this stack pretty quickly. He is only about 200 to go on his Blink Dagger, and since those smaller dragons were there a second ago, I think that Plasma Field actually did some damage. They'll throw out a Remnant, though, from Moon, and Moon wants to come in here. He'll actually get Searing Chains off on 2, but not going to do any serious damage. Not enough for Zeus or AA to follow up with something ridiculous. But hold that thought, AA, his ult's on cooldown for 2 more seconds. Don't think they're going to throw it out right now. Meanwhile, the Blink coming up on side.
I mean, it greases the Templar Assassin, but...
She had Refraction up anyway, so it wouldn't have done the blast damage. It just would have applied the debuff, yeah.
So, if you think about what the ice, what that global combo can do up against Pain's lineup, then you realize that that can actually be pretty good throughout a lot of the game. I mean, Zeus can extend that just by getting Axe Refresher, which is probably gonna be the way to go here for Swindle.
Yep. We are
because
seeing King
consider the
RD and
heroes,
VSW rotating around, though. There's going to be a fight brewing mid here, Dragon Drop. I don't mean to interrupt you, but...
it's okay.
We've got an arrow coming out. It's going to miss. There's a charge in, but a 4-man Ravage coming out from Grint. King RD coming in on the back end of the fight. He is taking a lot of damage here, and he will actually end up falling, it looks like. No, he actually will live. Very nicely down here. VSW gonna take the fall, but they've already taken down Ancient Apparition. ADR chasing down here with a lot of move speed. Will send the Zeus back to the grave, but Moon Meander coming in. He'll go after Grint. A double kill for him. A triple kill as he finds the Razor. Only ADR is standing here. Will it even be enough? He's gonna get jumped on here. They will find him with the Ignite. He's, Refraction is tearing down very quickly. He'll actually force him to dive behind the tower, but they're not scared. They'll dust him up, take him down, and Pain getting wiped at that point off of what looked like a beautiful combo coming in right after Tide got his blink. So it's not looking good to game number 1 for Pain here.
Yeah, that was a great Ravage there from Tide Hunter, but Razor looked like he would have survived, but he decided to re-engage. They got Swindle, but then Moon Meander, I don't know where he was at the I was just walking down mid, just starting the arrow across here at the beginning of the fight, and then they didn't get him. They didn't lock him down, and of course he can't really kite an Ember Spirit with 3 remnants up and running. So, especially with a Haste Rune. Did he have a Haste Rune, or was that someone else?
I'm not 100% sure, honestly, at this point.
Regardless, he was able to catch up to the Tide Hunter, who was very low due to a very good ice path together with Zeus ult. And then he was just able to clean up nicely, and even getting the TA at the end of that, diving under the tier 2 essentially was just super worth it here for Complexity.
Yeah, and Complexity skyrocketing into a 1500 gold lead, a 3k XP lead just off of that fight.
Oh, ADR.
Does he know Moon's here? No, he has no clue. But VSW will come by. Moon can just get away, but there will be a stomp in from Centaur. A charge out as well. VSW, you gotta get out of there, buddy. Grint standing nearby. They're gonna go after him. Moon Meander securing yet another kill. A mega kill streak for him is now. Swindle gets stunned up, or hexed up rather, and a Chain Lightning will actually finish off Billy there. Centaur comes in with the stomp. Grint's not gonna have any of that though. Get out of my house.
Oh no, bottle.
Oh God. It's going to be just enough. 47 HP there for Swindle Melons.
If you didn't have bottle charges there, that would have been the end of it.
And off that fight, Moon is 600, or 400 from his Battle Fury.
Yeah, and 100 away from the Razor in terms of net worth. I mean, considering that he was below the Templar Assassin at some point and is now 2,000 gold ahead, just goes to show that they've now been able to execute their strategy for this match. And right now, Pain is looking at. I mean, they can't really fight up against this, even if they have a Ravage, even if they... I mean, they need a Ravage and they need a good arrow, and they need to not have a 5-on-5 team fight, and they especially need the Moon Meander, need the Ember Spirit played by Moon Meander not to be there, or...
just to kill him off once or twice.
Yeah. Kill him.
If they can find a pick-off on Moon, which is going to be quite challenging. He'll actually run head first into the arrow, though. Tidehunter coming in, though. Use the Ravage and the Hex to secure it. There's a Shackle. And just as we were saying, it's not going to be easy. Pain taking him down, and they're going to go straight for the jugular. Roshan, Serpent Ward's even committed here. I mean, an AA ulti can come in. A Zeus ult can follow up. I don't think it'll be enough to bring him completely down. Billy might go down, but he's already got the ult off, and now the AA ult will wear off. They're going to pick up the Aegis, no casualties just yet, and now they'll turn on Swindle, who was coming in, but he's in a pretty bad spot. He'll get slowed down by that Templar trap, and Pain on the comeback. They'll run in here, get some armor reduction, a huge hit off on the Zeus, and a charge out from the Centaur won't save him. Limp on the run, but he gets slowed by TA. ADR juking in between the trees here. He actually won't chase him on down. Doesn't want to risk too much right now, because they can use this Aegis to pick off Moon Meander when he respawns. And they lose Tide for it, but I think they secured quite a bit out of that fight.
Yeah. Two very nice series of events here. First, or one nice series of events if you want to consider the entire thing. First, Moon Meander just dying at the rune with a well-placed arrow into Ravage, and then they took Roshan right away, and the timing was a little bit off because Zeus ult was on cooldown. If they... I feel like if they held on to the Ice Blast for a while, until Swindle really could get in and get maybe 1 or 2 extra spells off, then they might have been able to get a couple of kills simply because they Yeah, the shadow effects would have been on there longer for Swindle to also take advantage of it.
Yeah.
With the static field and with the arc lightning.
They're going to get up a pipe for Razor as well. And at this point in the game, I'd honestly say that's a bit better than a BKB, because they just need to get all their heroes to stay alive from this. They need to block magic damage with it, not have one hero that survives the fight and then gets picked off. Of course, a BKB will be necessary in just a little bit, and I believe that's what ADR is saving for right now. In fact, he'll pick up a Mithril Hammer. It could be a Deso coming out, but I'm hoping it's a BKB, simply because there is so much damage. Of course, if they're dead, they can't exactly deal damage. So
yeah, definitely need a BKB here. Nice dodge there from most of Pain.
Yeah, King RD gets hit with it, but he's the tanky one on the team, and it'll be gone before anything's really going to happen. They'll be able to take this tower, even if King RD tanks it up for a second here. And meanwhile, Complexity looking to split push for now. They're not the best at split pushing right now. Ember can do okay with his Battle Fury up now. Are they just gonna, not really base race it, but outer tower race it right now?
Well, they already got the trade on the tier 1, and now they can do a little bit of damage to the tier 2, and can still come back and defend if they really want to. But they might just be happy with the trade now. Maybe they're a little bit intimidated by the Aegis, and yeah, who wouldn't be, right? Don't really want to fight into that if you can help it. So just gonna try and delay with the Ice Pass, with the Glyph, and get a trade here. It's probably the best that they can do right now.
Sorry, I'm a little fanboyish here. I just saw Smash type Revo and then a heart after it in the chat. It is a Deso though for TA. Next he'll do Dragon Drop, right, Smash? Anyways, but it's a Deso for TA, so the greediness coming out here. And it's one of the things that this team, whether they've gone by Pain, gone by CMB, gone by Swag and Tiger, they've been known for their greed. And I'm not 100% sure that's going to pay off at the moment.
Well, as I mentioned, if they can get a couple of BKBs up, then they should be in a good spot still. And right now, there's a good phase for them in the game, or a decent phase, unless they really get caught by Moon Meander, who's just doing crazy things on the Summer Spirit. I mean, because Ancient Apparition's still level 9, so he's leeching some Ancient experience here that Moon Meander's trying to work up, so he can get level 11 as soon as possible, and which is going to be a big milestone for him. He's probably working on Axe, but he's still 3,000 away from that as well, give or take. Scouting ult from Zeus here, just to see where everyone's at, making sure that no one's being ganked right now. So,
and ADR does get lucky and block it with a refraction charge. So, I mean, he's going to be forming his BKB pretty quickly, and it's either that or a Manta up next for him. And Moon, he just used his Remnant. He does have another one available. There's actually a DD up for him as well, but he mainly uses that just to bottle up here. He has 3k gold. King RD gonna get a link off on Limp, who will get hexed up here. Billy gets crit hard by, or not crit, but hit hard by Moon Meander. And now Limp comes in double edge to take down Billy. King RD getting multicasted 3 times, 4 times, and Z-Freak, he's already got the Ags up. The Ravage comes out from Grant. Z-Freak gonna hit the deck. Don't touch our Razor, they say. Moon Meander, though, going after VSW, who will end up dying to a Searing Chains. TA's Aegis finally going to be popped. Can he get out of here, though? I don't know that he can.
There's no Searing Chains available. Zeus is right here. Everyone is right here.
Yeah.
ADR has nowhere to go. That's a 4-for-1 trade here. And man, that Aghanim Scepter doing work. I didn't even realize he had it. How did he get the farm, man?
I noticed around 21 minutes that he was building it, but then a fight broke out and I wasn't able to mention it. But, I mean...
That just flat out won in the fight because it brought down Razor with the lucky multicast, or a skilled multicast.
The skill shot, of course.
Say, yes.
Anyways,
pressing those buttons.
We do have Blade Mail now up on Centaur, and honestly, them losing the Ogre, now that he has Axe, I'm not trying to be, like, hateful on Ogre, but who cares? He's got his big item. He used a bunch of his mana in that fight. He's probably like, okay, let my carries have the kills.
Yeah,
let me go back to base.
Happy to give himself up against for 4 heroes. I mean, only the Titan survived, I believe, or maybe he just respawned.
The only thing is, though, if you look at the net worth graph, you're only seeing spikes for Complexity at this point. They've just hit 4k gold, and actually Limp gonna get hit by an arrow. VSW going for that medallion here, and Zeus now has his Ags up. That's going to help him out a lot, because that is one of the few ways you can scale abilities here, but not so sure it's going to be quite enough just yet.
Yep.
Seeing as Zeus, he's only sitting at level 14 at the moment. ADR 16. Of course, his level 3 ult is not that amazing, although it will help him get a little more vision out on the map.
Yep. Ancient Apparition, actually, Bloody Nine actually going for 4-star here instead of straight for the Axe. So, what do you think about that?
It's probably to bail them out of TA traps that are being popped to slow people down. Honestly, because if AA keeps getting picked off, he'll never get that Axe. It's not like he has a Midas or something here, like we've seen some AAs do. And an arrow gonna fly. I didn't see if it landed or not, but it looks like it didn't. VSW getting blown up, gets the invis off, and Pain could come in here. There's a dust off here, and it doesn't connect on anybody from Pain. So Complexity may think it's safe to hit this tower. The invis will be wearing off right now, and they're going to realize it's not. There's a Ravage from Tide in 4 seconds, though, and I think this is what Pain is waiting for. The only downside is that Mirana is already on the sidelines. Moomiander has a Remnant to get out to, has double Battle Fury up at this point at 27 minutes. This guy has amazing farm. He's one of the best players in the world right now, and you can't count him out.
Yep.
He's even using Sleight of Fist just to scout.
Yeah, he's playing very well on Ember Spirit. Absolutely no one can deny that right now.
And another thing we can talk about for him, it's a 6-second cooldown on Sleight of Fist, and he's got about 10.5 mana regen a second. With the 50 mana cost, that's half a second more to just refund his full mana for Sleight of Fist. It literally basically costs him nothing to keep throwing that out constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, that's something that you often overlook. I mean, that I often overlook on the Battle Fury. It actually gives a good amount of mana regen.
Yeah.
So if you make 2 of those, you're gonna have plus 10 mana regen, and yeah, every 5 seconds a Sleight of Fist.
And imagine if you make 5 of them drag and drop.
No. I'm
But
not
the
that far
cleavage
gone.
potential.
Sorry.
And actually, they're going to get to catch out the Centaur right here. He force stabs himself away. He'll charge, but there's a Ravage used. Only on 1 here. They do connect an arrow. Mirana going to hit the deck. They're not going to be able to secure the kill just off this. And Moomiander able to take down Shadow Shaman. The Core's currently getting away from the fight here. Templar Assassin TPing out. They're going to get away from this, just losing 2 supports. But it's these kind of pickoffs that are really putting the pain in the name of pain. It's making it hurt here. We do have BKB coming up for...
and maybe it's gonna be better. But yeah, Z Freak was just like, hey, let me help, then eats the arrow. But ultimately, it didn't matter because even though the Ravage was decent, they just didn't have any follow-up damage at that point.
King RD coming under fire. Limp with that Blade Mail is going to easily return damage to Razor with his ult. That's ownage for Complexity. 24-8, 3 times the kills up on Complexity, and ADR getting taken down as well. And there's an arrow. It'll hit Moomiander and stop the TP. But it's not enough. There's no real cores up to deliver damage here.
Yeah.
And they're sitting even on towers. What does Pain need to do to come back from this?
Well, they kind of have to find a way to extend the fights a little bit more, because that's what they really are about. I mean, Templar Assassin, I'm sure you have that burst damage, but it's mostly single target unless you get a good position there with your side blades. But apart from that, it's the longer the game goes, the more and more it will fall on the Razor to start dishing out the damage. And he doesn't have that much right click unless he gets a good drain off.
Yep.
And that ultimate also needs some time to really start working, right? So that you really feel an effect with that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of just dying to the massive amounts of burst that's coming out of Complexity right now. And without BKBs, they don't have any way to deal with that. And it doesn't look like they have any BKBs coming up either.
TA's is coming up in 1,000 gold, but that's 1,000 gold. And TA is currently sitting at, where's my gold per minute? 469. So that's going to be about 2 minutes of even farm.
Yeah.
To get
you need
that.
one on the Razor, though.
Yeah, you definitely need one on Razor at this point. And he's not really working toward it. He does have his Ag Scepter up, though. Which is kind of the last thing he's hopefully going to build before BKB. But at this point, the question is, what are we going to do here?
Well, they see him.
Oh, and they've spotted him out now. Limp has a blink available.
Moomiander doesn't have any remnants, so...
Yeah. And you don't want to dive in and just expect your Ember Spirit to be there if he can't be there. They are going to go after Roche, it looks like, right now. Or possibly just run after Swindle. And the whole team's grouped up here. They're going to throw an arrow. Long range. It won't connect, though, but they're still going to commit. King RD coming in. There's a Hex on Swindle. They'll get the long range shackles off. And the invis from Mirana. Is it even enough? King RD trying to grab him here. He still had a leash going on. Limp, meanwhile, in the back end, will take down the Shadow Shaman. Ember Spirit now taking down ADR. We do get to take down Zeus, though, from the Razor. And he pops the ult, but doesn't go all the way back in here. Meantime, VSW trying to get out at the moment. There is going to be a TP away from, it looked like Grint there. And he's going to find Z-Freak, but a multicast there to finish the job. Sorry for the lag spike there, guys. We do have King RD. He gets sunned up, even. And now he's getting taken down pretty quickly. Ogre Magi with the double kill. Hold on to your rares, Pain fanboys, because it's hurting bad.
Oh, this Ogre man. You think you can kill him because he's super low, he doesn't have any mana. But then you realize he's Aghanim Scepter, he always has one spell at the very least, and then that one's gonna multicast and just kill you. I love Ogre Man for that exact reason. So now they're gonna bring on the high ground siege. I mean, Razor does not have buyback, Temple Assassin does not have buyback.
And there's a lot of space.
We'll die in 10 seconds, so...
There's a lot of space that's been created for complexity. And
I mean, they can
Pain...
even go for Roshan right now if they really want to.
Yeah, but also Pain just doesn't have space to farm on the map at all. And you see, ADR is still about 1,000 gold away from that, or BKB, not Ags. Ags TA, new meta. Kappa.
Exactly where it was a couple of minutes ago, so... That's really costing Pain right now. That's... Those late BKBs... I mean, normally you say, alright, okay, late BKBs are good, because you don't... you won't have to, or you will have more charges, but if they keep dying that late, they're not gonna be able to get them up.
ADR gonna get slowed down. He'll get hit by this AA ulti right here. There is no Zeus ult to follow up there for 90 seconds at this point.
Yeah, just a little bit of harassment, but that's just keeping him away from the lane, keeping him away from farming. I mean, he's gonna have his BKB in about 500 gold, give or take.
Honestly,
but still, they're just doing such a good job delaying that, and even that, a BKB on a TA is not gonna be enough.
It's not going to be enough right away. They've got to get a good fight off here. They've shown us that they can, though. They've shown us that they can get those good pickoffs. It just hasn't happened very often here. And keep in mind, guys, this is only game 1. This is a best-of-3 series. You've got 2 more games after this to, for them to come back. And, I mean, even if they lose, yeah, sure, we lose our rares that we bet on Pain. But, hey, it's your risk betting, and there's still the lower bracket for the team. Anything can happen. Even in this game. And an arrow gonna fly, won't connect on anything though. A Hex instantly up on the Ogre Magi, that's a lot of hate. A Force Staff away from the team here as Billy is gonna get blown up by an AA ulti. Mirana trying to get away with the shadows. Will manage to get away here for a moment and actually circling around the team. They will see her now though. She wanders into that true sight, not exactly timing it out quite enough. And now they're looking for more but won't be able to find it just yet. Pain, their cores are alive. The BKB's up on TA. And this is exactly what they need at the moment. ADR, you gotta be careful, buddy.
Yeah,
1,300 to go on King RD's as well.
Pain can't even really engage. I mean, because they're being kited around so well, just because of the Stampede.
The pressure's on Grint right now. They need to be able to counter-initiate one of these team fights. The only problem is, the team fights start with an AA Ice Blast and a Zeus ult, and then your supports are running from the fight. They can't do anything. They're like, screw this, I'm going home. And Tidehunter's like, guys, I can Ravage, but Zeus and AA, they aren't even nearby to be Ravaged. So they don't even care. For the most part.
I think it's really gonna be on VSW to get a crazy amount of pickoffs with really lucky arrows. Because Shadow Shaman, he won't be able to set up for her anymore. I mean, sure, you still have the shackles, but he's gonna die pretty damn fast these days to pretty much everything. Look there,
nice disengagement though. The Ravage, is it available? They will pop it off. It looks like Grint is going to survive here. Only Shadow Shaman has fallen here. He's going to survive on barely any HP at this point. Z-Freak, he'll E-Blade up. There's a bit of a Sleight of Fist coming out from Moon. Limp will TP, or blink in here. And GRD going down pretty quickly. But they still have the important core alive, and that's ADR, but only for a moment here. As he does go down, they're going to lose him. VSW and Tidehunter, only one still standing, and Tide sitting in the fountain trying to regen. There won't be a stop from Limp just yet. And it looks like Grint trying to re-engage here if he can. But just saying, get off my racks. If they can hold the racks, I'm still going to give them a chance in this drag and drop. I'm going to hold on for it. Because I want to see good games. You know?
Yeah. But we're getting to a point where Ember Spirit is turning into that terror that he can be, just throwing out one sleight of fist after the other, and just being able to siege down from the high ground. So that just propagates amplifies the problem that Pain have, not being able to take the kind of fights that they want. So yeah, we saw it earlier. I mean, Shadow Shaman dies to pretty much anything. He can die solo to a lucky multicast from the Ogre. I mean, the freaking Zeus ultimate.
Oh my gosh.
A single Zeus ultimate brought him down to half health. If Zeus had a refresher, he could solo kill him whenever that was off cooldown, so...
And this is the kind of situation where if you can tell you're going to die in the fight, you want to throw out your Serpent Wards because it's, well, you want to do something. You don't want to be useless on your team right now, but the problem is he dies so quick. There's no real way for him to stop the Serpent Wards. He could maybe do it here if he can get it off in time. He will hex up Limp. He's actually holding on to him for now, but the Zeus ult going to take him down. That is 2 ultimates used to bring down a Shadow Shaman, but they do know how powerful the hero is. There is no Ravage up from Grint, but they're going to look for Limp here. They're not done fighting. And VSW going to blink in. There's a short-range arrow just to slow him down, but a double edge, a blade mail as well. That's godlike spree for Limp. He's just laughing in the face of Mirana, just saying, you think you can fight me?
That Mirana even has less health than the Shadow Shaman. I mean, granted more armor with the medallion, but I don't know what he was thinking there. There was a little bit of frustration in that leap, I believe. Just a tad bit.
Pain may be a little on tilt at the moment. I want to see some buybacks saved for, but at the same time, you need to get that BKB up on King RD. I kind of wish he hadn't gone for the drum here, especially since he went for something like the Midas. And now, he's going to get chased down a little bit, not actually going to engage. They don't want to jump uphill, and this is the issue for Complexity. If these heroes are alive, they do not break base easily.
Yeah. Yeah, they can take care of creep waves pretty nicely. But
King RD getting focused. He'll be going down right at the start of the fight, and ADR is going to be forced to back up. Will lose his charge of refraction to a siege creep there. But again, since these heroes are up, Shadow Shaman ults up, Ravage is up, they can't easily push into this. Ogre Magi E-Blade, the dream is real, boys.
Okay, it looks like Complexity does not care. Does not give one single fuck. So want to get right into that ADR with the BKB coming up, and in the back, that's gonna be the Ravage on 3 heroes. Is it gonna be enough? Z3 is gonna fall, maybe not. It's an over after all.
He will.
But now it's gonna trade out for ADR, and that's a full 5.5, just like
and
that.
And they're called the GG.
Just the Ogre.
They're just gonna say, look, we got outdrafted, we got outplayed for sure, and hey, let's just go next game. So,
yeah.
King RD, ADR, and the boys going to go back to the drawing board, bring it out in game 2. Hopefully they can bring it around here, and we'll see a game 3 come out of this series. But game 1 will go over to Complexity Gaming. Of course, I'm SB Revolution 5. I'm joined by Dragondrop. Dragondrop, any last words before we move on to game 2?
I hope game 2 is gonna be as skill rich as this one. So a little bit more evenly distributed, maybe, but nonetheless.
Yep. Real quick, guys, if you wouldn't mind during the break, checking out at SB Revolution 5 and at Dragondropdota on Twitter. We would really appreciate any feedback you have. If it's, we love your casting, keep it up. If it's, you keep saying this and it's really annoying, as long as it's something constructive, we would love to hear it. So be sure and go check us out there. But until then, we will be right back with game number 2. This is the Battle of America on hitbox.tv/DoomTV2.